Hey guys, Mr. Backerwork here. In this video, we're going to look at some basic trigonometric identities. So when we're looking at these trig identities, we're basically looking at an equation that's going to help us relate one trig function to another trig function for all values of our variable for which both sides of the equation are defined. And we call that our domain of validity. And the first type of identity that we're going to talk about are called reciprocal identities. So this is a way to relate one trig function to another trig function by using a reciprocal relationship. So if we wanted to look at the sine of theta, the reciprocal for our sine of theta is the cosecant. So the sine of theta is going to be equal to 1 over the cosecant of theta. As far as the cosine is related to the secant, and it's 1 over the secant of theta. Tangent is going to be related to the cotangent. That's going to be 1 over the cotangent of theta. So then we can also talk about these reciprocal functions and relate them back to our original trig functions. So if we wanted to look at a cosecant of theta, well, cosecant is 1 over the sine of theta. If we wanted to talk about the secant of theta, well, that's 1 over the cosine of theta. And if we were dealing with the cotangent of theta, that's 1 over the tangent of theta. So like I said, these are ways to relate one trig function to a different trig function using a reciprocal relationship. The next set of identities that we're going to take a look at are called quotient identities. And a quotient means that we're going to be making a fraction. And there's two separate quotient identities. One of them deals with the tangent of theta. And one way to find a tangent using other trig identities is by taking the sine of theta divided by the cosine of theta. We've also got a quotient identity for the cotangent of theta. And if we remember, cotangent is the reciprocal of the tangent. So if we were to take this sine of theta over cosine of theta and flip it over, then the cotangent would be the cosine of theta over the sine of theta. So that's a pretty basic introduction to these identities. Eventually, we're going to start using these basic trig identities to help us simplify down some trig expressions, to help us solve some trig equations, and eventually even using these basic trig identities to help us prove or verify some more complex trig identities. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.